When we think about survival in World War II, most of us imagine tanks, rifles, or codebreakers, but one of the most crucial battles wasn't fought with bullets, it was fought against dirty, deadly water. Let's go back 8 decades, to the front lines of a war where water could kill you faster than bullets. In the jungles of the Pacific, the deserts of North Africa, and the frozen front of Russia, clean water was a luxury. Wells were poisoned, streams were polluted, and rainwater was often contaminated by decaying bodies, oil, or chemicals. For soldiers, finding drinkable water wasn't just difficult, it was a matter of life or death. Dysentery, typhoid, and cholera killed more troops than some enemy units. By 1942, armies realized they needed a way to purify water in the field, something simple, portable, and reliable even in combat conditions. That's when an ingenious solution appeared, one that's been mostly forgotten today, but it still works better than many modern filters. Meet the Halazone tablet, a small white disc that changed how armies survived. Developed in the early 1940s, it was a chlorine-based compound used to disinfect water in canteens. Soldiers simply dropped one tablet into a full canteen of water, waited about 30 minutes, and the chlorine neutralized bacteria, parasites, and most viruses. The science was simple, but its impact was enormous. Each soldier carried a small metal tin containing dozens of tablets, enough to purify hundreds of liters of water without any fire, filter, or equipment. For troops on the move, from United States Marines fighting through the Pacific jungles to British commandos crossing North Africa, these tablets meant survival. They could refill from streams, puddles, or even rain barrels contaminated by warfare, and still drink safely. However, there was one major issue. Halazone didn't age well. Exposure to heat or humidity made the tablets lose effectiveness within weeks. Soldiers quickly noticed the chlorine smell fading, a dangerous sign that the chemical reaction would no longer kill bacteria. So, troops began to adapt. Some carried their tablets in wax paper, sealed tins, or even inside condoms to protect them from moisture. Others developed field tests. If the water didn't have that faint chlorine bite, they'd double up or mix in a second method, like boiling or filtering through cloth. This combination approach became the gold standard for field survival. Nans naichu, standestan stu star pinobdens, bon mike stenen dashu, and remains one of the most effective systems to this day. While Halazone tablets were issued widely, some special units, like U.S. Rangers, British SAS, and Australian jungle troops, went a step further. They developed what became known informally as the triple treatment method. First, cloth filtration. Pour the water through a piece of uniform fabric or even a sock to remove sediment and insects. Next, Halazone purification. Just add the chlorine tablet and wait at least 30 minutes. For the solar finish, just leave the canteen in direct sunlight for about 10 to 20 minutes. The UV light helped destroy any remaining pathogens. It was simple, portable, and it worked everywhere. Even decades later, scientists studying field survival methods in the 1970s found that this old World War II technique, combining filtration, chemical treatment, and UV exposure, was actually as effective as many modern purifiers. Here's the fascinating part. This forgotten World War II method is making a comeback. Modern survivalists, hikers, and even some military instructors have rediscovered it because it uses basic principles that never stopped working. Today, instead of Halazone, we use chlorine dioxide or iodine tablets, but the concept is identical: filter, purify, wait, and if possible, expose to sunlight. You know, in those tough survival conditions, where batteries die and filters clog up, the World War II system stands out as one of the most reliable. It's chemical-free and gear-light, making it a tried-and-true method to produce drinkable water. Picture this: just a single canteen, a bit of cloth, and one small tablet. That's all it takes to turn a muddy puddle into a lifeline. And when supplies ran out, soldiers got creative. They built makeshift charcoal filters right from their own campfires. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? They'd fill a metal tube, often a section of spent shell casing, with layers of sand, charcoal, and fabric. Water trickled through slowly, removing debris and improving taste before purification tablets were added. This trick originated in the jungles of Burma and New Guinea, where troops were isolated for weeks at a time. Even decades later, veterans recalled it as one of their most ingenious field hacks, a method that could save lives with nothing more than ashes and discipline. So why did this incredibly effective method fade away? After the war, armies standardized logistics, canteens became plastic, purification became industrial, and mass supply lines replaced field improvisation. The simplicity of Halazone gave way to complex systems, large-scale filters, iodine tablets, and, later on, mechanical purifiers. But in doing so, one thing was lost: the mindset of self-reliance. WWII soldiers couldn't depend on supply trucks. They learned to use chemistry, sunlight, and honestly, a lot of grit to survive. And that's what makes their methods timeless. In a crisis, whether it's a natural disaster, a blackout, or even a remote expedition, the World War II method remains gold. You don't need fancy filters or electronics, just first, filter with cloth, then, disinfect with a chlorine-based tablet or iodine, and finally, expose to sunlight. That's it. It's low-tech, high-trust, and proven by the toughest field test imaginable: global war. As one World War II field medic later said, "We fought disease with the same discipline we fought the enemy, one canteen at a time." The forgotten water purification method of World War II wasn't glamorous. It didn't win medals or headlines, but it saved millions of lives, silently, in the background of history. And even now, 80 years later, it's still one of the smartest, most effective ways to stay alive when clean water runs out, because technology changes, but survival, that never does.